Hey guys, we are here with our first Dorado video of the season.
Yeah, we had some mahi mayhem. As you can see, a beautiful school of Dorado swimming around underneath this kelp. We were lucky enough to be able to fish on our private charter.
And it's so gorgeous to see them underwater too because, they're so beautiful with their blues and greens. And once you get them on deck, they drain color pretty instantaneously.
Yeah, super, super cool fish. They change colors, they flash when they're in different moods, like when they're about to strike through bait. They jump out of the water as you're fighting them. They do everything they can to shake a hook. And when they want to bite, it is some of the funnest fishing out on the ocean.
So, what was the group of anglers like on this trip?
This was a pretty inexperienced group. 13 of the guys had never caught fish before, so this was perfect fishing for them. It was a lot of fly line fish for this Dorado. We were using J hooks. They were starting out using like 40-pound test, but these fish were really, really biting that day, and we were hooking them on 80-pound even.
Oh man, that's super fun. I think you can see, plenty of people on fish right here. And I think Joey's even using 80-pound setup right there, just casting out and sort of yanking them in.
Yeah, he was hooking in hand in full speed for these guys that needed a little bit of assistance. You can see that one getting bounced over. It was mixed gray Dorado. We had some really nice bulls in there. There were some smaller gray Dorado mixed in there as well. Plenty of fish though.
And as far as Dorado go, they actually are one of the fastest growing fish on the planet, right?
Yeah, one of the fastest growing fish in the ocean. They're super, super athletic fish. I think they can swim at speeds of like up to 60 miles an hour. And you'll see in the video a little bit later a couple fish that get hooked and they just take off.
Yeah, this one's kind of laying flat right here. And another nickname for Dorado is also flats.
Yeah, we'll call them flats on the boat all the time. You'll hear that on sport boats. Mahi mahi, obviously, is what you see on menus all the time, and that's what they call them in Hawaii. On the East Coast, they call them dolphin a lot of time, and California here we call them Dorado.
And it's so cool, I think, to see the contrast between sort of the underwater footage of, pretty calm, right? And then above the water on deck, just chaos ensuing.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of loss when you fight these fish because they are such acrobats, and they're going to jump out of the water and try to shake the hook and do everything they can. And that's what makes it so fun. You can see right there that Dorado jumped and shook the hook. You can see the little bit of disappointment in his face. Next one coming in and jumping and doing everything to avoid the gaff. They're definitely very hard fish to gaff.
Yeah, I was going to say, on that point of, a lot of these fish are lost during the bite. It's really hard to gaff these smaller ones. They're pretty squirrely, they jump all over the place, and they're also kind of lighter fish, so it's really difficult to kind of stick that gaff. They might, bounce off the gaff even a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely the most difficult fish to gaff, in my opinion. Um, you really have to work with the deckhand to lay out these fish. Otherwise, it's really difficult. What'll happen sometimes is because they are lighter fish, guys will wind through as you're gaffing a fish and pull it off the gaff. You see another biter in the corner. There's another one's jumping on the heavy line. That black and orange rent rod was 80-pound test, so he's bouncing it up and in the boat.
And there's this one right here. He's bit. Oh, there he goes.
There's that speed that we were talking about earlier in the video. You can see the angler's line go taking off, and there you go. He had plenty of drag on it, maybe a little bit too much in this case. He stopped it, and it's coming back towards the boat already.
And so, like we've talked about, in a bite like that, all you got to do is just start winding. You don't have to necessarily set the hook, like take a big swing, like you're bass fishing or anything like that. These fish are taking off away from the boat. Just start winding, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, we usually talk about circle hooks, but on Dorado, we like J hooks. That's our preference on this boat. Just because of the shape of their mouth, I feel like J hooks work a little bit better. You can see this beautiful underwater shot of this bait ball. Small sardines, these Dorado are just crashing through right next to the boat.
And it looks like Joey ended up with a yellowtail mixed in there too.
Yeah, there was some great size yellowtail underneath the kelps. The Dorado were so thick it was hard to get out of the Dorado, I would say. The guys that did, though, they caught some nice yellows, and they were stoked on those.
And so, did you have to do multiple drifts on this kelp, or is this kind of just one consecutive drift right now, or how did that bite go?
This was just one drift where the school stuck to the boat, and it wanted to bite, and we became the kelp patty, sort of. with a slow chum line. They were just hanging out in the corner, and if you could cast a bait away from the boat, you were getting bit. There were guys getting bit right next to the boat. Obviously, we saw that earlier in the video where the guy wasn't even getting the bait away from the boat, and we saw the Dorado grab his sardine and take off with it.
Right. This is one of those times that we talked about that, if you're not bit within a minute max, right? Get another bait, throw it in the water. Sometimes, you'll see guys just throwing out stupid jigs out there, like you said, on an 80-pound line and just getting hammered.
It's definitely not always like this. When they're biting this well, you can see Joey, he just cast out 80-pound test right there, heavy line with a big hook. He's already bit. Not every day is like this. Even if there are thousands of Dorado on a kelp, they don't always bite like this. This was definitely a special day for these anglers out on the water.
Yeah, I mean, we just a week before this, this footage here, we rolled up on a kelp, probably had 50 to 100 Dorado, and it just would not bite. So it's just kind of the perfect timing of making everything work for you.
Even this kelp in particular, the next day, another boat fished it that we talked to, and they were able to pick some fish off of it, but it took a lot of drifts and it took them a lot of time to put together a decent score on it. Whereas when we were on it, it was ready to bite, and obviously it did.
And it's just so fun to see, kind of them racing through the water. You can see their beautiful colors, and seeing just them jump and everything like that. It's so entertaining.
They're my favorite fish, really, especially for groups like this that have less experience on the water. These guys that are learning how to fish, use a conventional reel, all this stuff. It's such great practice for them, following their fish up and down the rail, getting the bait away from the boat, setting the hook, all that good stuff. So this was a really fun trip for a less experienced group of anglers.
And it's actually my favorite fish for fish tacos, actually.
Absolutely delicious fish. Yeah, that's why almost every good seafood restaurant you'll see mahi mahi on the menu, and it's a favorite. You can see there's a biter up the side of the boat right there. Another guy going over under.
Doing the Dorado dance.
Yeah, it's like the tuna shuffle, but a little bit quicker.
Yeah, a lot more chaotic for sure. You can see that guy in the corner winding his fish in. This guy here getting ready to set the hook. He's getting chased right now.
Yeah, he's on right there. I don't know, might have spit the hook. It looked like.
The last second. And this
Yeah,
guy getting ready for the gaff shot. And it looks like he actually drags the fish out of the water, and Josh is really trying to sort of gaff it
yeah, I
mid-air.
think he did actually hit it midair a couple times. That's what we were talking about earlier in the video. You got to watch that fish and try to lay it out for the deckhand because they do jump and they are very difficult to hit when they're up and down.
And so, kind of what brings the mahi to our local waters here?
Yeah, as the water warms up, they start to migrate in. Right now, we're starting to see water over 70 degrees. On this day in particular, we got 72-degree water on this kelp. So once the water starts warming up, they kind of follow that warm water currents, and they'll get under the kelps and start to bite.
And what do they like to eat? I mean, obviously, this bait ball that we see in the footage here.
Yeah, well, they obviously enjoyed the taste of our sardines, but they'll eat any small bait fish in the water, even flying fish. It's pretty cool. Sometimes you'll see them jumping out of the water, chasing a flying fish that is trying to evade them.
Well, it seems like a pretty amazing Dorado trip, and hopefully, it's a good sign of the rest of the season to come. It doesn't get any more fun than this.